The reason this is coyote to me is it comes right up the trail, and then just as it opens up, it tees. The side-by-side front tracks indicate a stop. And then it assesses the situation and then goes off and away in a more stalking gait out and around the Earth Lodge. Once a month we're going to gather and we'll cover wild edibles and medicinals and utilitarian plants, even in the dead of winter. And we'll do things like tracking. In my brain I have to rule out coyote. Why isn't it a coyote? Okay, I have to find out the reasons it shouldn't be a coyote. And then second to that, why isn't it a deer? I don't want to jump to conclusions and immediately go to 80% coyote, 20% deer. And it's fun. You know, it's like learning how to read the book of your backyard's life. Right, so you're saying it could be a deer, possibly because of these nibbled twigs.
Yeah, and then there's also, you know, a good bit of them. Right
now, just to throw some confusion into the mix, a rabbit can straddle a branch this tall, and even though this nibble's about 5 feet off the ground, it could straddle it and reach it. So look carefully at those bites. Are they clean cut or are they tattered?
They're tattered,
yeah.
All right, so deer only have bottom teeth, and the rabbits have garden shears.
Yeah.
Part of the Primitive Skills Club experience is monthly skills-oriented shares.
That said, I remember at least from last year, this was a big snowshoe hare, like feeding area
Look
here. So this would be a good predator draw as well. Yeah.
You're tracking some, oh, these little depressions.
Okay, so not only is there an attractant for a deer, these tasty snowshoe hare, leaving these pellets and nibbling this pine, are bringing in the possibility of a coyote being pulled into this area. And hard skills like shelter building and fire making, crafting atlatls, or hatchet bows. Pileated woodpecker holes in these dead standing balsam fir. If they're alive, that's where you get your pitch for fire making, glue and first aid, and tea. And if they're dead trees, that's where you get your tinder. Even in the worst weather, that dry, punky wood is the result of the galleries that are carved out of the center of that tree by carpenter ants, which is the pileated woodpecker's favorite meal. Soft skills would be the awareness skills, aidless navigation, developing that sense of intuition through your physical skill sets, and being able to read the landscape. This is where the body of this animal went through the snow on top of a log it stepped over. And again, as we're having those questions in our head, why isn't this a coyote? Why isn't this a deer? I'm finding that why isn't this a deer has been answered, unless it was a deer on its knees, which they do. They walk pretty quickly on their knees for low profile. I don't see this regular track pattern supporting that. Another part of the experience is coming to an awareness weekend and also an earth living weekend to really bring all of those skills and crafts together in a contextual format that makes sense through the cycle of the years, but also how do we approach complete self-reliance with nothing, and then how do we bring those skills back to our modern landscape? And it's not about tough guying it or suffering to learn. We're going to go out and we're going to forage for pine needles and then bring them back and make a tea. And during the time that tea takes to steep, we'll talk about pressure release studies or the next activity before we head out. For instance, bird language, understanding how birds react to a gray fox versus a bobcat versus a weasel versus a backpacker versus a naturalist. There are just so many skills under that umbrella of primitive skills to share, and to do so in a community setting helps a person flourish within the skill sets that they're interested in. So we're going to meet once a month for a full day of skills, and then through that month you'll have an opportunity to share those skills in the context of your own backyard, of your own 9-to-5 reality. If you can't afford the tuition for the year's worth of full day classes and the 2 weekend classes that are included in that, the Native Awareness Weekend and the Earth Living Weekend, then we can work something out along the lines of bartering, okay? There's plenty to be done here at the school, and there's a lot of talents that you possess that we as a community could use. So reach out. The email is staff@primitiveskills.com, and see if there's something we could do to make coming out here and having a blast happen, because it's all about developing mutually beneficial relationships. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the trail. This is Mike from Maine Primitive Skills School. Take care.